Alright, let's have a look at what we're going to create. We are going to create this. Basically a top-down city view with your name that looks like clouds. Okay. If you go into number 5, Photoshop text shadow, you'll see 3 files or 4 files. I want you to right-click the city file and go open with Photoshop CS5. If you don't see Photoshop in the Open With panel, go to Choose Default Program and select Photoshop CS5. Okay. Now that our image has loaded in Photoshop, the first thing we're going to do is unlock our background layer. So because it's locked, we won't be able to make any changes to that. So let's unlock it. Let's right click it and go layer from background. Give it a name. I'm just going to call it background. You can call it city if you want. You can call it whatever you want. And then hit OK. Remember, you can zoom in by clicking Control plus on your keyboard, and Control minus can zoom out. If it zooms in and zooms out too much, you can go down to this left hand corner here where it writes 100%, and you can change that. Maybe 120% makes it better for you. Okay, now that we've got our city the way we want it, we're going to go here over to the left hand side where it has a little T symbol. We're going to click on that. That's the text tool. We're going to use the text tool to actually write something over our city. So once your text tool has initialized, click and drag a little canvas to write in. And now just start writing something. I'm going to write my name. I would prefer if you wrote your first name or something like that. Now, you may not be able to see the text. It may be very, very small. So what you can do is highlight your text. First thing, go up top and make it bigger. Now, if that's still too small, click inside here and actually write in maybe 150, 200, depending on how big you want your text. Okay. Also change the color. You can pick any color you want for the first part of this tutorial. I'm just going to choose white. Another thing you want to do is pick the text type or the font type. If you highlight your text, you can click over here, and by using the up and down arrow keys, you can change the text type, and you'll be able to see the different types of text that show up. Now, I'm going to pick a text that I like. That actually looks pretty cool. I like that one. Okay, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, maybe 200. And then once I'm happy with the size, the font type, and the color, I'll click on the moving tool, which is the first tool. That'll save my text, and then I can move my text wherever I want. I want to position it somewhere in the middle of my Photoshop canvas. The next thing we're going to do is put a shadow behind it. So let's right click our text, go to blending options, move this little box to the right here so we can see our picture, and the first thing I want to enable is drop shadow. Click on drop shadow. One thing you can do is increase the distance of your drop shadow. You can also go over to your image and click and drag the drop shadow to an exact point that you want it. This will make it seem like your text is up in the sky by creating some space from the picture behind it. You can play around with the spread, which will make it thicker. You can play around with the size, which will make it kind of disappear. Almost giving it a blurry look. Opacity will make it lighter or darker. Other things we can do are inner shadows, outer glows, inner glows, bevel and emboss, strokes, etc. There's a lot of cool things we can do here. Bevel and emboss will give it like a 3D pop to your text. So if I turn that off and turn it back on, you can see the difference. Then there are different types of bevel and emboss. We can go in here, outer bevel, inner bevel, emboss. Got pillow. That looks quite cool. I hit OK. If I'm happy, I hit OK. If I'm not happy, I'll hit cancel and it'll go back to the original text. So this is the first part of the tutorial, just creating a text with a drop shadow. I'll go back to blending options, and in drop shadow, remember we can change the color of the drop shadow. Now because we're going to turn our text into like a cloudy, like clouds, I want to click on the drop shadow and make it white. Now if you can't see the drop shadow anymore, change the blend mode to normal and then we'll be able to see it. And you might want to then fix it up, move the distance, change the spread and size, things like that. Opacity down a bit maybe. Okay, hit OK when you're happy. Okay. What we're going to do is actually turn our text into more of a if you want to change your text, all you have to do is go back to the T tool and click inside your text and you can then edit your text. You can change what it writes. I'm going to change the font type. Okay. What we want to do now is actually get rid of the color that we've put in there and make it so that it's from a clouds picture. So first thing we need to do is bring in the clouds picture. So to bring in another image, we go to File, Place. So go File, Place. Now the Photoshop picture is in the same folder that you got the city picture from. So that would be in computer, student share, computing, Photoshop, number 5, Photoshop text shadow, and then the picture clouds. And then hit place. It'll play